Hello everyone, welcome to this sneak peek of Astroneer. Now you can see this little chubby fellow here is my little astronaut. Now, this is essentially our starting pod. We can get in at any time to save the game. We can get out. Now you also have a thing called a terrain tool. Now this will be your primary tool for adjusting terrain, mining and things of that nature. So you can see over here we've got some resin. Now, resin's probably one of the most important resources in the game. And literally, you can move the mouse around here with the right mouse button, just holding it down. But if you click the left mouse button, you can see it'll stick all that terrain down into the little thing at the bottom there. Or stick all the resource into a little container. And then when it fills up, it sticks it in your backpack automatically for you. Now, resin will be the most important resource that you'll use in this game. So anytime you see a resin deposit, you'll want to get as much of it as you can. Now, you've also got various different slots here in the backpack. You can build things, so look, batteries, tethers, tanks, generators, beacons, wind vanes, you name it. So we'll probably end up building something like this once we get another resource called compound. And you also have limited electricity as well. So you use up that electricity by using your device here, like this. See, but it also, you can see, you can sort of just play around with it. So you're not using up all your electricity all the time. And it does return, as you can see. So what you can then do is you can then choose to start extending your base. Now the way you do that is you would literally just click on it here with the left mouse button and then it will extend into that format there. Now what you can then do is click on it and that will then lock in that particular position and then move it out into one of these double header positions. Now, that enables you to put something in there, sort of almost upgrade it to a certain degree. And what we can do also is we can click here, put a resin in here, and build that one out to that position as well. We can do the same with this one if we want to as well. There we go. And if we look, we've got one more resin. Let's build this little fellow out to about here. Now resin's one of the primary things you'll use for building, so if you find a seam of it, try and get as much of it as you can. Now the thing is about some of these resources, once you start digging there's actually more stuff underneath as well. Now let's see. You can hold the Alt button down. Now what that will do is that will put terrain back for you. So it'll build terrain. You can build massive, great big huge things and all sorts of madness. Now you can see this blue line here. This is essentially your tether. This is what tethers you to oxygen and also power and to your base. Now one of the things you can actually build in this game is additional tethers. But we'll need a compound in order to do that. That's another thing that we shall use on a regular basis, is a resource called compound. Now, what we can do is just press the E button, hold down Alt, and it just fills that back in again. Like so. Now you can hold down Control, I think it is. Just double check that. I think so. Let's wait for some more power. But there is an option where you can just flatten it out. So we can wait for some more power and then just take that and flatten it out. But anyway, what you've also got is you've got certain emplacements. Now, let's just go over here because I think this might be more resource of resin. No, this is hydrogen. Now that essentially is ship fuel. So sometimes you can find it there, but you can generate it in other ways as well. Now let's just put that away and go and see what this is. Oh, fuel. So you click that and put it in the back, and aluminium, which is very helpful indeed. So think of it as a little supply pod for us there. Now if you hold down the shift button, in there we you to run back, and see that's the first of the warnings that you get. It is possible to die, suffocate from lack of oxygen. That's why you need the tethers, and that's why we're going to need to find some of this particular resource that we need. And I see some over here. Look at that. So let's go collecting some compounds, shall we? Now, one thing you can actually do is you can actually attach to your backpack collectors. So, if we go into here, see here's tethers, we'll build some of those. You can see it'll build those, stick them into one of these positions, there we go. And what we'll also then do is build solar. And that'll stick it into there, or one of the others, it'll stick into one of those. So if we stick that on there as well. Now, the good thing about it is that these things we can add to big versions to the base and do whatever we need to do with them. So it's handy in that regard. Now, you can see here, as we've made tethers, we can press T to place one down. So let me just show you how that's done. If we place T, do T, there you go. You can see how far it will go stretch and how far it will go before it breaks the connection. Plonk it down with the left mouse button, and there's your first tether. Then we can build another one out to this resource. See, gone a bit too far, just right. And then we don't have to worry about oxygen because we are tethered close to this particular resource, and then we can collect it at our leisure. Now the only thing is that unless we've got some way of generating power, which we haven't yet in this base, then occasionally we'll become low on power. Now there is a resource over here that you can see coming in yellow that allows us to get our power back. So if we go to tethering and just put some tethers down here as we go in that general direction. Oh, there's another resource doodah there. There we go. And get out our... Oh, there we go. See? Fills that all up, and also fills up a little box with power as well. So let's go over and see what's on this one. Ah, some organic. And some copper. Now, one thing you can do is you can get better devices later on that enable you to meld that copper into other resources. So that's essentially what we're going to be looking to do. And the way you do it is to put resin like that onto this double setup here. So if we just do a bolt like that, and then we'll stretch that out with probably one resin, and you can then build off the back of that. So you can see now what we need to do is go looking for some more resin. Now there could be some in here. Let's have a look. No, that's more of the old stuff. Now if we hold back the Alt key and put it all back, and we put down the old control and the shift keys, you can basically flatten it all out about. Just essentially fill in the gaps that you've made, you know. So, you know, because, you know, if you're going to start using stuff, you might as well be tidy. And you can carry this stuff by just essentially dropping it there. Now, this obviously, you can see here the beautiful clouds around you. So there's another planet over there. There will be points at when the biome situation will change. and you need to be prepared for that. Ah, resin, excellent. So what we'll do then is we'll put another tether here, and then we'll put another tether about here, and there we go, we can collect the resin safely. Now you can see there that what's happened is that the actual backpack is full, so it's got no more space to store that resin, so it essentially just drops it in. So if we press Q, we can say, okay, there's some tethers, there's some compound, we've got some aluminium, we've got some hydrazine. Don't need the hydrazine for the moment. And we could build another solar doodah, but there's really no point at the moment. So we need to get that in, like so. And let's take the compound out for the moment. And then we'll just pick up the resin, because we're going to need that to build what we need to build here. So let's go back and do some building. So you can see, essentially use the mouse, you can scroll around, and you've also got emotes as well. 1, 2, 3. When you can't figure out what the problem is. And this is a co-op game as well, boys and girls. So this is something that you can play cooperatively. Now, we put 2 resin on here. Bingo. This is now when we can choose what we want to have. Now, these are things that we can have. See, a smelter. Very helpful thing to have when we want compound, which we've actually left over here. So that will actually be advantageous for us, because we'll come charging over to here. Pick up the compound. Come on, put the compound in there. There we go. And you can also press the left mouse button and point to things. See? Over here. So, you can indicate stuff for your teammates while you're building together and surviving together. So, these are things that you can contain in. Now, here we go. Compound, both in. Smelter. And it builds the smelter out of that compound. Now, one thing to bear in mind, it has no power. So, how are we going to get around that? Well, what we can do is we can build some solar panels. Like so. Now, the advantage of those is you just put them in there and they'll pick up the sun whenever they're available. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to have to rely on solar all the time. And I always like to try and have, wind vane. Because obviously it's either going to be sunny or it's going to be windy, or it's going to be one or the other. So if we put a wind vane in there as well, then anytime there's some wind, it will get powered, and you can see the battery level filling up there. Now, what that also means then, you can see here there's good copper, that's organic, we've got tethers, we've got resin, and we've got some power as well if we need to use it. So that's not looking too bad. Now, let's see, because what we should do here is build out another one like that. There we go. So, we can still put things in here if that's what we want to do. So, that's pretty much an option available to us. Now, if we were to go and get some more resin, we could build some more things. And what we could also do is to aid us in the issuing of power. You can even get a generator which essentially runs off of organic material. So what we can do is we can go into this, build this generator, slot it on the front, then slot the organic compound on the front. And then that basically gets all eaten up and used by the generator to generate its stuff. So unfortunately it can't generate resin or anything like that yet. So what we'll also need to do is we need some more compound. So let's go over here, hold down shift and you can run, and let's go just hoover up some more compound. Here we go. So it's just a space survival game, but there is obviously a multiplayer factor, there's a co-op factor, and building bases and all that kind of stuff is always good fun. So that looks like we've hit the edge of that seam there. We've only got one, not even a full one. I think that's hydrazine. Judging by it, yep, that's exactly it. That's fuel that we don't really need. So let's go wandering over here. Now you can see a tether slightly become out of reach distance-wise, so we just got to pull that back a little bit. What's that, resin probably? It is. See, dig a bit lower, you find more resin. But then, you know, so you don't fall into these holes, you also have to build, or fill in the gaps, I suppose, to a certain degree. So let's take this back and let's build with the resin that we've got. Now, let's see. If we put one in here like this, at least that'll build forward. And then we can build one out here as well. And then we can build a double resin thing there. But the point is that we leave ourselves plenty of options for moving stuff around. So let's have a look. I think there's something in there. There is two. See, that made a full resin there. Oh, look, more resin. Good. As we run out of power yet again. But you can see the power on the back is slowly recovering. So let's move back here. If we can get, there you go, oxygen 50% just as soon as we get to the tether line. Oh, that's interesting. That tether line's become disconnected. There we go. Just needed reseating. Like that. There we go. So at least we're now on the proper tether line and we're continuing to have oxygen and power being returned and all that kind of funky good stuff. So there will come a point where there'll be a massive storm. And what you can actually do in those storms is you can have the choice as to whether or not you want to weather the storm, but then all of a sudden it starts throwing large, great sodding rocks at you, which kind of ruins your day. So, call me old-fashioned, I don't want to get a rock in the face, so you can take cover, you can just dig a hole with one of these things, which is very helpful. So, let's get back over here. And obviously as it's night, then it means things like the solar panels won't be able to catch the sun. So you can have a slight power deficiency. But, you know, you can also get other things that can go on here. See, so you can readjust those if you want to. The only thing I have found, bear in mind this is pre-alpha, and I have to say it's still very, very solid for a pre-alpha. Hardly had any problems with it with respect to my machine. Is that you can't really get rid of these things once you've built them, which is a bit of a shame. You can't dismantle them, and it would be nice to be able to do so. So that just in case you change your mind and you want to reorganize things, then you've got the option of doing it. So let's go and look for more resource, shall we? Now that looks to be an oxygen resource, which you can go up to. You can see there it's redoing my oxygen, so we don't really need that. We need the resin. The resin's really the stuff we're going to use the most. Let's put the gun away, we don't need it for the moment. We'll fill in that hole eventually. And there's that stuff there, which we can just kick into there. We don't need it yet. So, let's see. Where could the resin be, we ask ourselves. I told you about the howling wind. Yeah, that's not good. See, look, he's now struggling against the howling wind. Got to get in there quickly. You got one of those big old rocks in your face. Oh, we got no time. Here we go. Now, if we'd stayed around, those things would have hit us. Now, can we fill it in, I wonder? Yep, we can. So we're now safe under here. Albeit our oxygen, we do have a tethering as well. So that's quite helpful. The only thing it's a shame you can't do is change the aperture or the size of that. That would be helpful. Let's drill a little air hole or something through the centre. But you can build tunnels quite easily, see. See, deceptively simple. So I think that may be over now. So let's dig our way out, shall we? No, not up there. Come on, up here. There we go, we're out. Our little survival bunker did as well. So, let's see. We need double resin right now. So we need to go on a search. And this tends to be what most of the exploration tends to be, as he says, tends too much. Because you're looking for the resources that you need to build other things. And it looks like we found more resin. Yes, we have. Now, where is the tag? Little tether. There's one. Another. And another. That's all the tethers we got at the moment, so we'll have to build some more compound, but for the time being we're going to be getting lots of resin, which is what we need. So we're getting loads of the resin. Make sure we get all of it. See, it's all down the bottom here as well. And you can see that those things that capture the sun, those solar panels, continually move to capture that sun so that we can continue to have power. So the power runs out a lot less often when we're in this situation. Let's see, is there anything more in here, I wonder? Oxygen's at 25%, but saying that, there's this little thing over here. Uh-oh. There we go, oxygen refill. Phew, thank God for that. Here is our tether over here. So, that's not too bad. Let's make our way back and use this resin. There we go, and it automatically tethers you to that line. So, let's have a look. So, we've got our furnace, so to speak. And then what can we put over here? There we go. So we've got a printer, research, and a smelter. Let's put in research. And we need compound. Okay. So let's go looking for some compound, shall we? Nothing there again. Not good moving like that. Where is you compound? What's this over here? We already dealt with this one. I think we have, haven't we? Yeah, we dealt with that one. We dealt with that one. Because you will also find things like crashed ships. Ah, compound over here. So you'll be able to sabotage, not sabotage, but you'll be able to get stuff from those crashed ships. And that will aid you in your building and your survival on this planet. Enable you to build a ship that will then allow you to essentially travel to another planet in this system. So let's just get back over here and get our oxygen and power sorted. There you go, you can see our power rising at the back there slowly. And our number of resources, which is not looking too bad. And, you know, all these resources vary up over the course of time. So you have plenty of things that you can build. You'll be able to build rovers, you'll be able to build ships, you'll be able to build all sorts of things. And bear in mind, this is pre-alpha, so there's plenty of other stuff that no doubt will be added to the game over the course of time. So let's go and see if we can find that stuff again. Here we go. We've got space for a few more compounds, so we'll make the most of it, I think. Or at least we'll try to. There we go. That's looking good. Let's charge back. Up. And start putting the stuff into place. So here we go. They want the compound in here. So we'll just click on there. It will automatically place 2 compound in. You then click on the eye and it will then build your research device. Now the thing to bear in mind is lack of power. So let's go into here and build some solar panels. You can see we'll build multiples like that. So we'll put one there, and we'll put another one there, another one there. And you'll see, look there, level of power is starting to increase. So that's all good, and we can stick other stuff down the front here as well. So that's looking pretty good. And what we're be able to do now is, I think, put some resin in here and then turn that into a printer, and that will need copper. Now whether or not we've actually got any copper, I don't know, but we'll have to go hunting for some, is the point. So essentially this printer is a 3D printer and enables you to use resin, the stuff that we collect, in order to build all sorts of cool stuff. So I think what we'll do is we'll build some power stuff for it straight away. Like that. Stick it in there. So that will have power going forward quite quickly. And then all we need to do is find copper to put that in. And then you can see, get it all powered. Look, see, look at that. The sun is coming up. And the solar panels immediately move to capture as much of the sun as possible. And you can see the movement on the wind vane is also capturing power as well. So I'd say that's a good sign. So let's see. Let's have a look. Put one in there. And then we'll put one in this direction there, like that. So what we could do is we could conceivably put something else in there so they're side by side, which would be quite nice. You know, maybe like resource storage or something else additional. But either way, you can see here, if you look up in the air, you may not be able to see it yet because of the cloud cover. Look at that all moving, isn't it beautiful? There are other planets in this system. There we go. There's one. Look at that. In fact, there's another. So you'll be able to fly to these other planets in the system, explore them for resources, all sorts of cool stuff. And so that should give you a brief look, a sneak peek if you wish, at Astroneer. And hopefully you like what you see and you'll decide to go exploring for yourself. We'll see you next time.